to a starry night. Intergalactic light so bright. Dakota show so out of sight. Blast off now, take flight. Aliens and rockin' tunes. Country beats under the moons. Space dust in my boots, all new. Gigolo's hosting soon. Welcome to the galaxy. Radio waves so wild and free. Tune and feel the energy. With Dakota ride the beat. When it's been due.
Sorry about that, folks. Looks like we're having a little bit of a technical issue there. I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Dakota and I am the Intergalactic Gigolo. Today's recording date is Friday, August 9th. It is just 4 minutes till 4 o'clock in the morning for me. Some of you have probably wondering, Dakota, where's the galactic stories? That's how we found you. But guess what? Tonight I got one for you. There's been some rather interesting updates. And I don't know if you can hear it right now, but I'm actually recording this outside. Literally sitting on my front step. Just observing what I can of the stars. Figure maybe if I go to start telling the story, we'll have something happen. See if you can't let you guys see my face. I noticed some issues with some of the integrations that Streamlabs has. So once I'm done recording this, I gotta go in and fix those. Hard work being this awesome. But for those of you who follow the Telegram channel, you might have seen a bit of an update where there might be some news coming from the Cygnus constellation here soon. I'm not 100%. This is where it took place. I am going to put this disclosure out there front and center right now and say that there's much information we're still trying to sort through. Oh, something just flew by there. See what I mean? Don't exactly have any good attachments for my phone, but I'll let you guys see the stars. Right now, with all the wildfires surrounding me, the air quality's been shit. But anyway. So you're probably wondering, well, Dakota, what's going on? You got a story for us? And yeah, I do. And it's not just me. There's my starwife's envoy was the first one to start picking up on it. As she and I have gotten closer, starting to get to know each other more, then regardless of whatever situations we find ourselves in, distance, whether we're standing next to each other or miles apart, the distance between us isn't exactly inhibiting what's been going on. I promised her, I would censor some details, so I won't go into that much, but it does seem that our connection is allowing her to tap more into my starwife, her alternate body, her counterpart, her other incarnation, whatever term you want to use. The other incarnation that's currently married and seems to be on active military duty with the Galactic Federation of Worlds alongside her husband, my other counterpart. So you can imagine how interesting things get. It's like a big old bat just flew there. But anyway, with these connections, both her and I, it gets to be the point where we can almost jump into our other bodies at any time. Well, in theory, at least. There's still the matter of trying to understand how to balance these two worlds we're walking, and the stress from that distracting us, which, let's face it, who isn't dealing with something right now, right? But anyway, she goes to tell me about this vision where our star counterparts seem to be held up together in this these fancy quarters. I mean, like the Intergalactic 5-star hotel equivalents type. We weren't being held hostage or anything. She also noted that we seem to have very white, formal attire suits on, and it felt like we were at a location for official business. When we started to do our usual rituals to help each other connect to each other's minds, which, funnily enough, seems to kick on its own whenever one of us seems to be in distress for whatever the situation may be. We both saw ourselves on this planet. Where we were at seemed to be kind of somewhat of a dry desert sort of environment. You could hear what sounds like an ocean nearby, but again, we're still trying to sort through all the details. And she and I have been trying to help each other as much as we can. It seems like we're probably the best people to be helping each other out, Anyway. It seemed like the connection to our star bodies, we could see and feel everything they were doing. They were on some sort of active mission. While we were in the hotel room, it seemed like we were just kind of, the feeling that was there was like we had just barely arrived. We were just trying to get settled, get ourselves acclimated to our surroundings. The suits we had on helped keep our bodies stable to where we weren't miserable in the fucking heat. Soon, someone who was wearing these dark robes came in. And this is coming from what my starwife, so envoy, has told me, just to try to clarify. This gentleman came in. He was wearing this kind of dark robe, had somewhat of a tannish skin. You got the feeling that he was from there. And she noted that he mentioned about something about 32 or 36. As we were trying to initially investigate, I was trying to help her see if she could remember any more details. The first thought that came to my mind, and this is where the idea that Cygnus came into play, was that there were for some reason, this was some sort of star designation, like it would be Kepler. And the Cygnus constellation is noted in official NASA records to be constellation with the seemingly highest concentration of solar systems, with several planets that may actually be within habitable regions. So there was that. That's where the Cygnus came from. Whether or not that's officially where it was, I don't know. I looked through my records, which included resources from MUFON, Elena Danon's books. In that particular region, we had the Calypsis rye, which is a type of gray species that, from the sounds of the records, was split between wanting to work with Federation and wanting to, and as well as associating with the Naboo, as well as some records within MUFON of possible humanoid beings within that region. Obviously, for skeptically minded, it is hard to test these matters to see for ourselves without physically taking a craft and heading up there. But that's the information I had to work with. So that is where these conclusions are coming from. Again, it is still very early in trying to understand what's going on. I may have some details wrong. Further explorations, I should say. There'd be moments where I would start getting flashes from my other half, Alarian, who is essentially a tall Shi'ar renegade who rebelled against his home world, killed a Seeker Royal, and joined the Galactic Federation because he saw no other option to be safe. Plus, there was a beautiful woman that was catching his eye. There were moments where I was able to see through his eyes as he was going through access panels. He was monitoring some sort of situation. And this is where it gets weird. There was a point where I was taken, where possibly my consciousness was transferred and taken to this world, where I was inside Alarian for about 2 months. That's kind of the feel I got for it. I could see, feel, hear everything he could. At one point, while we were going through these facilities, and part of these facilities seemed like they were under some deep rocks. You know how they say that Area 51 has hangars that come out of the sides of mountains? It was those types of facilities. All of a sudden, we started to feel these tremors, impact tremors. Something huge hit us. We managed to get a view outside, and we were being hit with something. There's this one point where there was this bright green flash. It looked like a meteor. And if I remember my chemistry right, when a meteor goes to burn bright green here on Earth, it's usually rich in iron. Whether or not this world had the same composition, it seemed very similar to Earth in some of the more arid desert kind of areas. So areas you probably would anticipate to be like in the Middle East. Just for perspective, the robes that some of the locals wore, if you ever seen the Dune movies, was very similar. Very similar attire. I'm just noting that for reference. After this green flash, something attacked us. Exactly what? I'm not 100% sure. The next thing I know, there was weapons fired, there was explosions, there was screaming. Evina and I were tossed right into the mix. Our goal, our initial assignment was basically just to stand guard to help with the diplomatic arrangements. That's how much I can tell. There was some sort of diplomatic meeting taking place to ensure alliances. The guy that we had come into our room with the dark robes, he seemed like he was a local, but he was with us. We were there to help him. Being that we were caught in the insanity, we jumped right into battle. When I got a look at these things that were attacking us, they had some weird specialized suits on. I mean, total body coverage. From a distance, they look like sleek, white Terminator robots. As we got closer, you could tell that whatever was attacking us was not ready for that environment. It was not made for those conditions. The second any part of it got exposed, any part of that armor, those suits got damaged just enough, they were in trouble. And Evina and I were also trained medical staff. We did what we could, not only to go after the attackers, but tend to the wounded. And we were getting hit pretty heavy. Soon more and more tremors started to hit. Something tried to invade us. Whatever was going on within that diplomatic meeting, somebody out there did not want it to happen. I remember taking people in out of the war zone, and their skin was just covered in burns from the plasma weapons that were being used. I remember the craft just seemingly coming out of nowhere. But the locals there, they fought hard. They were resilient. There were some that even took up arms while they were still healing. They were determined. Initially, when we first showed up, there was a bit of a tension towards us outsiders, but the second they saw us jumping right into the mix, jumping right into the fire, it was enough to help turn the tides. A few weeks go by, and finally we're able to get some reinforcements. Some sort of super soldiers. We let them take the lead. We were able to draw the enemy back, killed many of them, and wounded just enough. Some were taken as captives to be further interrogated. Once the battle was over, the negotiations were done with, and it was time for us to go back. Again, I wish I had more details. I'm still learning how to sort through all this. Whether or not I'm right, I'll be honest, I'm still at the point of all this where I'm questioning my own sanity. And whether or not it's related, my starwife's envoy may have felt some strain from it. Shortly after I was back, she started to mention she's had a pretty heavy migraine. Whether it could very well be possible that this was a physical manifestation of her not being used to taking on that much of a load when it comes to psychic energies. So more work needs to be done there. Figures. As I'm getting ready to publish a book, something new happens. When the battle was over and we were taken off, things went well enough afterwards to where those we tended to made sure to see us off. And that's when I remember coming back. I have rough timestamps saved to further analyze, because as some of you know, that I've kept cameras on me in the bedroom running 24/7 ever since October of 2023. I still need to look through some of that, but focusing on getting some company stuff up to date. Once again, trying to juggle civilian life with this life. It's absolutely chaotic. I'll try to get more updates as I can go. But as I said, this is fresh information dug up. I'm working on trying to physically illustrate, physically draw out some of the things I remember seeing. Hopefully that would help me tap back into it. But honestly, I get the feeling that I saw a little bit more than what I was supposed to. Wouldn't be the first time that that's happened. It certainly makes me wonder about my counterpart. And I also can't help but wonder if maybe, just maybe, it might be possible that I can somehow establish a direct line of communication that can physically be heard on tape. That's going to be one of my experiments here soon. Will it work? I don't know. But there's a lot of things about my story that technically aren't supposed to happen. They're not. It's not that they aren't possible. It's just that My situation seems to be a little bit more advanced than some. Now I know why. But as the connections start to grow, I fully anticipate the situation's only going to get weirder. I mean, after all, my son, who I didn't see be born until like March of 2021, 2022, 2022, yeah. He's already a grown man and getting ready to be married himself. I even met his fiance. She lets everybody call her Viv. Sweet girl. Major hugger. Possibly a Zygon, from what I've been able to gather. She's not afraid to style herself up. She likes to keep like a light blue hair, and she's fairly tall, about a little over 6 foot. My son Michael, he's about like 6'3", 6'4", right around there. She's about 6'1", maybe. And man, when she gets excited, she knows how to squeeze you. I'm proud of my boy. Got himself a good-looking woman. So, sounds like the family's getting bigger. And on top of this, I'm going to be a grandfather. I'm not even 30, man. But that's the story as I know it right now. And you know what? I know that I try to use Gigolo as kind of the chat show and Franson Files to give a little bit more production, but I think it's about time I shared some more of my stories with you all. I got to be going into the system anyway to get some things fixed up, so I might as well get the new shows lined up. Oh, there's going to be new music, new classes from Network Academy. I'm working on trying to get movies lined up as well. And you might see some gaming stuff come up on the channel. If that piques your interest, awesome. If not, oh well. Just before you go to judge what I'm doing, just remember this. I have a tendency to plant a lot of seeds. That's kind of how I ended up with 4 kids with a woman from outer space. I like to plant a lot of seeds, try a lot of things. So if it don't make sense right now, just give it time. You never know what's going to come up next. So much love. Take care. I'll see you all next time.
Ride to be